I remember the exact moment my life split in two. I was standing in our living room, staring at my full ride scholarship letter while my mother's words hung in the air like poison. Esther, you need to understand your role in this family. I was 18 then, fresh-faced and naive. I'd worked myself to exhaustion for that scholarship, perfect grades, volunteer work, leadership roles, everything they'd asked of me, everything they said would make them proud. But, Mum, I earned this, I said, my voice barely a whisper. 4 years at Stanford, everything covered. My father cleared his throat from his leather armchair, not even looking up from his newspaper. Your sister's acceptance to Harvard is non-negotiable. The family name carries weight there. We can't afford both. Prudence sat on the couch, examining her manicure. At 15, she'd already mastered the art of pretending not to care while drinking in every moment of her triumph. It's not like you really wanted Stanford anyway, right, Essie? I've wanted it since I was 12, I said, gripping the letter tighter. Mum touched my shoulder, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light. Darling, be reasonable. Prudence's test scores are exceptional. She's the promising one. Harvard will open doors that Stanford... Well? She paused, choosing her words carefully. You've always been adequate, Esther. Reliable. But Prudence, she's destined for greatness. The word adequate hit like a slap. I'd heard it before, of course, countless times. Adequate grades, they were perfect. Adequate achievements, I was class president. Adequate dreams, I wanted to revolutionize financial technology. What exactly are you asking me to do? I kept my voice steady, though my hands shook. Call Stanford, decline the scholarship. We'll help you apply to community college. Dad finally looked up. It's the responsible thing to do. The family thing, Mum added. Prudence stretched and stood up. I have dance practice. Can we wrap this up? Esther knows what she needs to do. I looked at each of them. Dad with his dismissive glance, Mum with her manipulative smile, Prudence with her entitled smirk. 15 years of being the adequate daughter crystallized in that moment. Fine, I said quietly. I'll make the call. Mum clapped her hands together. Perfect. I knew you'd understand. Family first, always. She hurried off to the kitchen, probably to call her friends about Prudence's Harvard acceptance. That evening, I sat in my car outside the community college where I'd just registered for night classes. Tears burned in my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. My phone buzzed. A text from my new roommate, Laura, asking when I'd move in. Change of plans? I typed back. I'm staying local, working days, studying nights. Her response was immediate. What? Why? You got Stanford? I stared at the phone for a long time before responding. Family needed the money for Prudence. Harvard calls. 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before her final message came through. That's fucked up, Esther. Like, seriously fucked up. I laughed. A hollow sound in my empty car. Yeah, I wrote back. It is. Starting my car, I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror. The adequate daughter. The reliable one. The sacrifice. They'll regret this, I whispered to my reflection. All of them. I drove home in silence, already plotting my next moves. Community college classes, a job at a local tech startup. Small steps, invisible steps. Let them think I'd accepted my role. Let them believe I was just adequate Esther, taking one for the team. Walking into the house, I heard Mom on the phone in the kitchen. Yes, both girls are exactly where they should be. Prudence is Harvard-bound, and Esther, well, she's found something suitable. You know how she is. Modest goals, modest abilities. I climbed the stairs to my room, each step cementing my resolve. They wanted modest. I'd show them modest. I'd build something so quietly, so carefully, they'd never see it coming until it was too late. In my room, I pinned my Stanford rejection letter, the one I'd written myself, on my bulletin board. Next to it, I placed a small note. Adequate is as adequate does. Let them have their golden child. Let them bask in Prudence's promised glory. I had work to do, and time was on my side. After all, karma doesn't work on anyone else's schedule. 8 years can change everything, and nothing at all. I sat in my modest apartment's kitchen, watching Laura pace while reading financial reports. Holy shit, Esther, holy shit! She slapped the papers down. You're telling me this tiny startup you invested in just got acquired for how much? 400 million, I said, sipping my coffee. My share works out to about 42 million after taxes. Laura collapsed into the chair across from me. And your family still thinks you're some kind of middle management nobody? I nodded, allowing myself a small smile. Last Christmas, Dad asked if I'd gotten that promotion to senior data entry specialist yet. And you just nodded and passed the potatoes, didn't you? Actually, I said I was still working on it, keeping expectations low. Laura threw her head back and laughed. You're evil. I love it. She sobered quickly. But seriously, E, you're a silent partner in 3 successful fintech startups. You've got more money than your entire family combined. Don't you think it's time to... To what? I cut her off. Show them they were wrong. Give them a chance to pretend they always believed in me. The doorbell rang. Laura raised an eyebrow. That'll be Darren with the contracts. I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress. Remember, he thinks I'm just another investor. The man's not stupid, Esther. He's been watching you for months. I opened the door to find Darren in his usual crisp suit, looking somewhat nervous. Ms. Emerson, he said formally, then spotted Laura. Oh, I didn't realize you had company. Laura's my lawyer, I said, gesturing him in. She reviews all my contracts. He set his briefcase on the table, stealing glances at my deliberately modest apartment. You know, most of our investors prefer to meet at their offices or homes. I prefer privacy, I replied, taking the contracts he offered. Less attention that way. Laura snorted. She means she's pathologically modest. Darren's eyes met mine. Somehow I doubt that's the whole story. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Prudence's face lit up the screen. I declined the call. Your sister again? Laura asked. 3rd time today. She never calls unless she needs something. Darren looked between us. You have a sister? The promising one, Laura and I said in unison, then laughed. My phone buzzed again, a text this time. I read it aloud. Essie, super urgent. Needs sister advice. Call me. Translation, Laura said. She's in trouble and needs money. I turned to Darren. The contracts look good. I'll wire the funds tomorrow. He hesitated. There's something else. The board. We'd like you to consider taking a more active role. Your insights have been invaluable, and frankly, your background in... No public positions, I said firmly. But why? You're brilliant at this. Your analysis of market trends alone. Laura interrupted. Trust me, Darren, she has her reasons. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. I showed Laura the text. Esther, call your sister. Family emergency. It's starting, Laura said quietly. Darren gathered his things, clearly sensing the tension. At the door he paused. Whatever game you're playing, Miss Emerson, I hope you know what you're doing. After he left, Laura turned to me. He likes you. He likes my investment strategy. No, he likes you, and you like him. I ignored her, reading another text from Mum. Your sister's in trouble, real trouble. Be a good sister and help. Laura read over my shoulder. What are you going to do? I walked to my window, looking out at the city lights. Wait. For what? For them to realise how bad it is, for them to exhaust every other option, for them to have no choice but to beg the adequate daughter for help. I turned back to her. You're going to have real power soon. What will you do with it? I smiled, cold and certain. Restore balance. Laura shivered. Sometimes you scare me, E. Good, I said, watching my phone light up with another desperate text, because soon I'm going to scare them too. I picked up the startup's acquisition papers, worth more money than my parents had ever seen. 8 years of careful planning, of quiet investments, of playing the long game. 8 years of watching Prudence burn through opportunities while I built my empire in silence. Let them call, let them text, let them panic. I'd waited 8 years for karma to come calling. I could wait a little longer for it to hit rock bottom. Christmas dinner at the Emerson house was always a performance, but this year's show was particularly fascinating. I sat quietly at my usual spot, watching Prudence push her food around her plate while Mom chatted about country club gossip. "And then Margaret's daughter bought that darling boutique downtown," Mom said, pointedly looking at Prudence. "The one you were interested in, dear." Prudence's fork clattered against her plate. "Can we not talk about the boutique?" I took a small bite of turkey, savouring more than just the food. "Oh, what happened with that?" "Nothing," Prudence snapped. "It just didn't work out." Dad cleared his throat. "Speaking of work, Esther, still at that data entry job?" "More or less," I said, helping myself to more potatoes. "It pays the bills. If you'd applied yourself more in school, like your sister—" He trailed off as Prudence suddenly stood up. "I need air," she announced, rushing from the table. Mum waited until the door slammed before turning to Dad. "We have to do something. The bank called again this morning." "Lower your voice," Dad hissed, glancing at me. I pretended to be very interested in my green beans. 8 years of practice made it easy to look oblivious. "She put the house up as collateral, Edgar," Mom whispered fiercely, "for that ridiculous boutique, and now with Jessie leaving—" "Jessie left?" I interrupted, letting genuine surprise colour my voice. Last I'd heard, Prudence's fiancé was still in the picture. Mum's face crumpled. "He found out about the credit cards and the loans. He said she was using him as a human ATM." "How much?" I asked quietly. "Esther, this doesn't concern—" "How much, Mum?" Dad's jaw clenched. 250,000, plus the mortgage she took out on her house. I whistled low. "That's a lot." "She was trying to maintain appearances," Mum defended. "After Harvard, certain things are expected. A lifestyle, connections." "And what exactly did Harvard get her?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. Dad's face darkened. "Now listen here." The back door opened and Prudence returned, mascara smeared. "Jessie's engaged," she announced to the silent room. "To his secretary, that basic little nobody who probably shops at Target." I bit back a smile. "There's nothing wrong with Target." "Of course you'd say that," Prudence snapped. "You've never aimed higher than mediocre." "Prudence," Mum warned, but I raised my hand. "No, let her finish. I'm curious what the Harvard graduate thinks about my life choices." Prudence's face crumpled. I can't do this right now. The bank is threatening foreclosure. Jessie's lawyer keeps calling about the money I borrowed, and the boutique's bankruptcy lawyer." "If we don't figure something out soon, she'll go bankrupt," Mum whispered, horror in her voice. I stood up, gathering my plate. "Well, this has been illuminating, but I should head home, early day tomorrow." "That's it?" Prudence's voice rose. "Your sister tells you she's in trouble and you just leave?" I turned at the door, taking in the scene. My sister, mascara-streaked and desperate. My mother, wringing her hands in her expensive blouse. My father, pride warring with panic on his face. "What exactly do you expect me to do?" I asked softly. "I'm just adequate Esther, remember? The one with the modest goals and modest abilities?" The silence was deafening. "Merry Christmas," I said, and walked out. In my car, I pulled out my phone and texted Laura. "It's happening. She's going under." Laura replied instantly. "How bad?" "250,000 plus mortgage debt. Jessie left her." "Holy shit. What's your play?" I started my car, watching through the window as my family huddled together in the dining room, probably brainstorming solutions that didn't involve the disappointing daughter. "Wait for it," I typed. "They'll call soon, when they've exhausted every other option, when they're desperate enough to beg." And then I smiled in the darkness. And then I show them exactly what adequate looks like. Driving home, I thought about the documents in my safe. The ones Laura had drawn up months ago when we first caught wind of Prudence's financial troubles. The ones that would make them face every choice, every dismissal, every moment they'd chosen her over me. My phone lit up with a text from Darren. "Board meeting tomorrow. Sure you won't reconsider taking a public role?" "Not yet." I replied, but soon, very soon. The pieces were falling into place. All I had to do was wait for my family to realise their golden child had turned to lid. And then I'd show them what real power looks like. The first voicemail came on a Tuesday morning. I was in a board meeting when my phone lit up with Mum's number. "Esther, sweetheart," her voice cracked through the speaker. "I know we don't talk much, but please call me back. We need to talk. It's important. Family, important." I played it for Laura over lunch. "She's crying," Laura noted, stirring her coffee. "Your Ice Queen mother is actually crying." "She cries when she needs something," I said. "It's her specialty." My phone buzzed again. Another voicemail. "Esther, please, we're running out of options. Your sister, she's not well. She needs her big sister. Just call me back." Laura raised an eyebrow. "How many does this make?" "4 today. She's getting desperate." "And you're just going to keep ignoring them?" I smiled. "I'm waiting for—" My phone rang. Dad's number. "Him," I said, letting it go to voicemail. Laura leaned forward. "Play it." Dad's voice was gruff, uncomfortable. "Esther, your mother's upset. Call us back. We need to discuss some family matters. Nothing serious, just call us." "Nothing serious?" Laura scoffed. "They're about to lose everything." My phone buzzed with a text from Darren. "Missing you in the board meeting. The new acquisition needs your touch." "Tell him you're dealing with family drama," Laura suggested. I typed back, "Family emergency brewing. Might need a few days soon." His response was immediate. "Everything okay?" "Will be," I replied, then showed Laura my phone. "He's been asking more questions lately." "Because he's interested in more than your financial expertise," she smirked. "When are you going to—" My phone rang again. Dad. "Answer it this time," Laura urged. "Make them work for it." I picked up on the 4th ring. "Hello?" "Finally," Dad grunted. "We've been trying to reach you." "I've been busy. Work." "Yes, well—" He cleared his throat. "Your mother and I need to speak with you, in person." "About?" "Family matters." "Dad, I have meetings all week. If this is about Prudence's boutique—" "It's not just the boutique," he cut in. "Look, we need a little help to keep the family reputation intact." I caught Laura's eye. She mouthed, "Here it comes." "What kind of help?" I asked innocently. "Financial?" The word seemed to physically pain him. "Just temporary. A loan." "I work in data entry, Dad. I'm not exactly swimming in extra cash." "You've always been good with money, responsible, prudent." He choked on the word. Unlike the promising one. Silence. "How much?" I asked. "Come home," he said instead. "Sunday dinner. We'll discuss details." "I want numbers first," he sighed heavily. 250, plus some additional considerations." "That's a lot of data entry, Dad." "You must have something saved. You live so modestly." I let the silence stretch until he squirmed. "Sunday dinner?" "Yes, and Esther, don't mention this to your sister. She's fragile right now." I hung up and looked at Laura. "Sunday dinner." "You're going?" "Oh, I'm going." I pulled out my laptop and opened a folder labelled Family Matters. Time to prepare the paperwork. The confession documents. And the property transfers. Call your office. I want everything ready by Sunday. Laura pulled out her phone, then paused. "Esther, are you sure about this? Once you do this, there's no going back. No happy family reunions. No reconciliation." I showed her my screen, a photo from last Christmas. Me in the background, blurry and ignored, while Prudence commanded centre stage. They killed any chance of reconciliation 8 years ago. Now they get to learn what adequate really looks like. My phone buzzed with a text from Darren. "Whatever's happening with your family, I'm here if you need backup." Laura read it over my shoulder. "Bring him Sunday." "What?" "Bring him. Let them see exactly who you've become when they weren't looking." I considered it, remembering Dad's dismissive tone, Mum's tearful manipulation, the casual way they assumed I was still the same pushover they'd sacrificed. "You know what? I will." I typed back to Darren. Free Sunday evening, there's something I'd like you to see. His response came quickly. Name the time and place. I smiled, cold and satisfied. Time to show them what the adequate daughter can do. Laura raised her coffee cup in a toast. To Karma. To Karma, I agreed, and to family dinners they'll never forget. Sunday dinner felt like walking into a funeral. Mum had stress-cooked enough food for 20 people, though only 5 places were set. Prudence sat at the table looking hollow, her designer clothes hanging loose on her frame. Esther! Mom rushed to hug me. And who's this? Darren stepped forward in his impeccable suit. Darren Kelly, I work with Esther. Dad's eyebrows rose. At the data entry company. Something like that, Darren replied smoothly, catching my eye. We sat down, and Mum immediately launched into hostess mode, heaping food onto plates while chattering about nothing. Prudence pushed her food around, not eating. So, I said finally, let's discuss why I'm here. Can't we just have a nice family dinner? Mum pleaded. Like Christmas? I asked, when we pretended Prudence wasn't drowning in debt. Prudence's fork clattered to her plate. I don't need this right now. What do you need, besides $250,000? Dad cleared his throat. We've explored every option. The banks won't extend any more credit. Your mother's family can't help, even my pension. And you thought of me last, I finished. The adequate daughter with the modest job. Esther, please, Mum whispered. We're family. Family? I laughed. Like when you made me give up Stanford for her? Was that family? Darren's head snapped toward me, but I kept going. Or when you spent my college fund on her Harvard apartment? Or when you remortgaged your house to fund her boutique dreams? That's not fair, Prudence protested. No, what's not fair is assuming I'd bail you out after years of treating me like a backup plan. Dad's face darkened. Now listen here. No, you listen. I pulled out my phone and pulled up my banking app. You want to know what adequate looks like? I slid the phone across the table. Dad's eyes widened as he saw the balance. That's impossible, he stammered. That's what happens when you work smart instead of relying on family names and Harvard connections. Mom grabbed the phone, gasping. But how? While Prudence was burning through Daddy's money, I was investing, building, creating. I turned to Darren. Would you like to tell them what I really do? Darren smiled. Ms. Emerson is one of our most successful venture capitalists. She's built 3 tech companies from the ground up. But data entry, Dad sputtered, was a cover. I wanted to see how long you'd keep underestimating me. I reached for my phone. And now you need my help. Prudence burst into tears. I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I'm sorry you didn't get Stanford. I'm sorry I messed everything up. Sorry doesn't pay your debts, I said quietly. What do you want? Dad asked, his pride crumbling. Everything has a price, I replied, pulling out Laura's documents. These papers detail every advantage you gave Prudence at my expense. Every sacrifice you demanded, every time you chose her over me, sign them. What are they for? Mum asked, hands shaking. Public record. I want everyone to know exactly what kind of parents you are, what kind of sister she is. You can't be serious, Dad exploded. $250,000 serious. I stood up. Sign the papers, get the money, refuse, and I walk out that door. Prudence grabbed the papers, scanning them. This would ruin us, our reputation. Like you ruined my chances, my dreams, my trust in family. Silence fell over the table. Darren watched with quiet intensity as my family stared at the documents. You don't have that kind of money, Dad said finally, one last attempt at control. I smiled. I could buy this house right now in cash. In fact, I pulled out another document. I might just do that too. Mum started crying. Prudence looked like she might faint. Dad's face turned red with rage and shame. Take it or leave it, I said, standing up. You have until tomorrow to decide. Come on, Darren. At the door, I turned back. Oh, and Prudence, that basic nobody who shops at Target, she's probably not drowning in debt. In the car, Darren was quiet for a long moment. That was too much? Incredible, he finished. Terrifying, but incredible. I looked back at the house where my family sat, probably still staring at those papers. They'll sign. How do you know? Because they're desperate, and I'm their last hope. I started the car. Ironic, isn't it? The adequate daughter holding all the cards. There's nothing adequate about you, Darren said softly. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. No, there really isn't. Laura's office felt too small for all the tension it contained. My family sat clustered on one side of her conference table, looking like defendants at a trial, which, in a way, they were. The terms are simple, Laura said, spreading out the documents. You sign these affidavits acknowledging your actions regarding the Stanford Scholarship, subsequent financial decisions, and systematic favoritism. In return, Esther will clear Prudence's debts. This is extortion, Dad growled. No, Laura replied calmly. This is accountability. Prudence leaned forward, makeup perfect despite her obvious distress. Essie, please, we can work something else out. I'll pay you back slowly. With what money? I asked. Your boutique is bankrupt. Jessie's gone. Harvard connections dried up. What exactly do you have left to offer? I'm your sister. You were my sister when you took my scholarship too. Mum dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. We did what we thought was best for the family. Best for Prudence, I corrected. Now you can do what's best for her again. Sign. Dad picked up the papers, reading aloud. We, the undersigned, acknowledge that we deliberately sacrificed Esther's academic future to benefit Prudence, displaying a pattern of emotional negligence and financial discrimination. He threw the papers down. This is ridiculous. Is it false? Darren spoke up from the corner where he'd been quietly observing. This is a family matter, Dad snapped. A family matter you're about to make very public, Laura added. These affidavits will be filed with the court. Public record. Prudence burst into tears. You're trying to destroy us? No, I said quietly. I'm making you face what you did. Every country club friend, every Harvard connection, every business associate will know exactly how you treated your daughters. Unless, Mum asked weakly, unless you sign, then the money appears, the debts vanish, and you get to keep pretending to the world that you're perfect parents with a perfect golden child. And if we refuse, Dad challenged. I stood up, smoothing my designer suit, one that cost more than their monthly mortgage. Then Prudence declares bankruptcy. The house goes into foreclosure. The family name you sacrificed me to protect gets dragged through every financial paper in the city. You wouldn't, Prudence whispered. Try me. Laura pushed pens across the table. Take your time, read carefully, but know the offer expires in 1 hour. Mom reached for a pen with trembling fingers. Edgar, we have to. Eleanor, don't you dare. We have no choice, she snapped. Our daughter is drowning, and our other daughter... She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Our other daughter holds all the power. I watched as she signed, her perfect penmanship spelling out her shame. Prudence followed, mascara running as she scribbled her name. Dad stared at the pen like it was a snake. Tick-tock, Laura said softly. You think this makes you powerful? He spat at me. Using money to humiliate your family? No, Dad. What makes me powerful is that I succeeded despite you, not because of you. I leaned forward. Karma's not a myth, Dad. It's me, and I'm collecting. His hand shook as he signed. Excellent, Laura said, gathering the papers. I'll file these today. Esther? I pulled out my phone, made a few taps. Money's transferred. Check your accounts. Prudence grabbed her phone, gasping as she saw the balance. It's all gone. The debt. And now, so am I. I stood up. Darren? He joined me at the door, placing a supportive hand on my back. Wait, Mom called. That's it? You're just leaving? What else is there? We're still family, Prudence pleaded. No, I said softly. We're just people who share DNA and a very public record of exactly how toxic that connection is. You've ruined us, Dad said hoarsely. You ruined yourselves. I just made you pay for it. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. I'm buying your house. What? They all exclaimed. The paperwork's already in motion. You can stay, as tenants. Consider it adequate daughter's revenge. In the elevator, Darren finally spoke. That was too harsh. Justified, he said firmly. But are you okay? I looked at my reflection in the elevator doors. Designer suit, perfect posture, not a hint of the scared 18-year-old they'd once crushed. I'm better than okay, I said. I'm free. My phone buzzed. Laura. Papers filed. It's done. I showed Darren the message. Want to grab dinner? I know a great place. Your family might be there. Good, I smiled. Let them see exactly who the adequate daughter became. The elevator doors opened to the lobby, and I walked out into the sunlight, leaving the weight of family expectations behind in that conference room. The closing papers for my parents' house arrived on a Thursday. I sat in Laura's office, watching Mum's hands shake as she signed away their family home. You can stay, I reminded her. The rental agreement is fair. Fair? Dad scoffed from his chair. You're making us pay rent to live in our own home? Not your home anymore, Laura corrected, collecting the signatures. And the rent is well below market value. Prudence burst through the door, waving her phone. Have you seen this? Have you fucking seen this? She thrust the phone at me. On the screen was a local business magazine's website. Rising Star, The Secret Success of Esther Emerson. The article went live an hour ago, Darren said, walking in behind her. Board thought it was time to announce your promotion to CEO. Mom grabbed the phone, reading aloud. From rejected Stanford scholar to tech industry powerhouse, Esther Emerson's rise proves success is the best revenge. She looked up, face pale. They quoted our affidavits. Public record, I reminded her. They're calling you a genius, Prudence whispered, a visionary. Funny how perspective changes when you're not being compared to the promising one. Dad stood up suddenly. This was your plan all along. Humiliate us, take our home, and then show the world. Show the world exactly what you did, I finished. Yes, that was precisely the plan. I'll fight this, he threatened. I'll tell everyone you coerced us That I what? I stood, matching his stance. Forced you to sign a truthful account of how you treated your daughters? Go ahead. I'm sure the press would love to hear more details. Edgar, sit down, Mom hissed. You're making it worse. Prudence was still staring at her phone. There's a video interview too, with your old teachers, my ex-fiancé. She looked up. Jessie said you tried to warn him about my spending. I did. He didn't listen. Why would you try to help him? Because he was the only one who saw through your act. He deserved better than being your ATM. Darren cleared his throat. The board's waiting for your statement, Esther. They want to announce the new direction of the company. New direction? Dad asked despite himself. We're launching a scholarship program, I said, for promising students whose families can't afford elite universities or won't support them. Mum started crying again. Esther, please, we can fix this. We're still family. No, what we are is a cautionary tale about favouritism, about karma, about the dangers of underestimating the adequate daughter. I never meant, Prudence began. To what? Take everything? Destroy my dreams? Watch me struggle while you coasted on my sacrifice? I picked up the house keys from the table. You meant every bit of it, and now you get to live with the consequences. Where am I supposed to go? Prudence asked quietly. There's a nice one-bedroom apartment across town, within your new budget. Very adequate. Dad made one last attempt. You think this makes you better than us? Using money and power to punish your family? No, Dad. What makes me better is that I earned everything you tried to deny me. And now, I gestured to the magazine article still displayed on Prudence's phone. Now everyone knows it. Laura finished notarizing the documents. The house is officially transferred. Here's your copy of the rental agreement. I'll have my property manager contact you about inspection dates, I said, gathering my things. Darren, ready for that board meeting? He offered his arm with a smile. The car's waiting. At the door, I turned back one last time. My family sat in defeated silence. Mom crying, Dad seething, Prudence still staring at her phone in disbelief. You once wanted all that was mine, I said softly. Now you'll live in it, on my terms. In the elevator, Darren pulled me close. You okay? Better than okay. I showed him my phone. Laura had just texted that the Scholarship Foundation paperwork was ready. Ready to help some adequate students reach their full potential? He kissed me softly. There's nothing adequate about you, never was. The elevator doors opened to a lobby full of reporters. Camera flashes burst as they spotted me. Ms. Emerson, can you comment on your incredible rise in the tech world? What inspired your Scholarship Foundation? Any response to your family's situation? I stepped forward, Darren's hand steady on my back, and faced the cameras with a smile that would make headlines tomorrow. I'm just a formally adequate daughter, I said clearly, who decided to show the world what adequate really looks like. The cameras flashed, capturing the moment the backup plan became the master plan, and I walked through the chaos toward my waiting car, leaving adequacy behind forever. The key felt heavy in my hand as I unlocked my childhood home's front door. The house was silent. My family had gone out, probably to avoid this moment, their first property inspection as my tenants. You don't have to do this yourself, Darren said behind me. The property manager could— No, I cut him off. I need to. We walked through the familiar rooms, now strange with my parents' attempts to maintain their former lifestyle on a reduced budget. Cheaper copies of their old artwork, empty spaces where valuable pieces had been sold. I stopped at the living room where it had all started, where they demanded I give up Stanford. This is where they broke your heart, Darren said quietly, and where I decided to rebuild it stronger. Footsteps on the porch made us turn. Prudence stood in the doorway, looking smaller in her non-designer clothes. I thought I'd find you here, she said. Property inspection. Right. She stepped inside. I found my old Stanford rejection letter, the real one. I raised an eyebrow. And? I never opened it back then. Mum and Dad said I was automatically accepted, that their connections— She swallowed hard. I got rejected, Esther. Even with all their pulling strings, I wasn't good enough. But I was, I said quietly, and they threw it away. I know, She looked around the room. I've been seeing a therapist. She says I need to face what we did to you. Therapy was my suggestion, Laura said, appearing in the doorway, part of the healing process. I turned to my friend. You knew? She called my office last week, asked for recommendations. Prudence stepped closer. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know I see it now, all of it. What they did, what I let them do. What you encouraged them to do, I corrected. Yes. She wiped a tear. The therapist says I was trapped in a golden cage of their expectations, but that's no excuse for trapping you in a darker one. My phone buzzed, a news alert about our Scholarship Foundation. The first recipients had been announced. Prudence saw it too. You're giving other kids what they took from you. I'm giving them what I had to fight for alone. You weren't completely alone, Darren said, squeezing my hand. You had Laura, and eventually me. And now? Laura prompted. I looked around the room, at the spaces where privilege once hung, at my sister's humbled stance, at the life I'd built from adequacy's ashes. Now I have everything they thought I couldn't achieve. I turned to Prudence, including peace. I'm moving out, she said suddenly. Found a job in customer service. It's adequate. She smiled weakly at the word. But it's mine. No connections, no favours. Good, I said simply. Mum and Dad won't speak to me. Say I've sided with the enemy. You're choosing truth over comfort, Laura observed. It's harder. My phone buzzed again. A text from the scholarship committee. A student's thank you video. I played it, letting the young voice fill the room. Because of Ms. Emerson's foundation, I don't have to choose between my dreams and my family's expectations. Prudence watched, tears flowing freely now. That could have been you. It is me. Every student we help is me. She nodded, understanding finally reaching her eyes. I should go. My shift starts soon. She paused at the door. The house looks different now. Everything looks different now, I replied. After she left, Darren pulled me close. Ready for dinner? The board wants to celebrate the scholarship announcements. In a minute. I walked to the mantel, where a family photo still hung, me in the background, Prudence centre stage. I took it down. What are you going to do with it? Laura asked. Leave it for them. A reminder. I placed it face down on the mantel. Some things shouldn't be forgotten. And some things, Darren said, should be celebrated. He pulled out an envelope. The latest investment numbers? We've doubled the scholarship fund. I smiled, taking his hand. Let's go tell the board how many more adequate dreams we can fund. At the door, I took one last look at the room where adequacy died and excellence was born. My phone lit up with another scholarship thank you message. You know what's better than revenge? I said to Laura and Darren. Legacy. We walked out together, leaving the empty spaces and old photos behind. Outside, a group of reporters waited, not for the story of family betrayal anymore, but for news of more scholarships, more opportunities, more adequate students ready to become extraordinary. I stepped into the sunlight, ready to give them something better than revenge to write about, ready to show the world what adequate dreams could build.